Once a visitor encountered one of the oldest inhabitants of my region I am from and asked about his life. And the response was, I was born in Austro-Hungarian monarchy, then I went to school in Czechoslovakia, I did my army service in Hortis, Hungary, then after a short spell in prison in the Ukraine Soviet Socialist Republic, I'm ending my life in the independent Ukraine. The visitor's response was, oh, how much of the world the old man has seen? But the old man responded, no, I have never left my village. What can this short anecdote, this short story teach us about the region I am coming from? And what is the importance in respect of the landscape of this region? As the short story told us, and you can notice it, there was a lot of changes in the social and ecological system in this region, and actually it was no fewer than 17 changes in the political status of the region, included not just annexation and re-annexation, but 2 short time of independence existence. Where is this region? Transcarpathia is one of the 24th region of Ukraine, and I'm just going to tell you a story about one of the community, one of the minority of that region, because it has a lot of minority, relatively big number of different minority, included Russians, Slovaks, Romans, Romas, and also Ukraine, the biggest one, and Hungarian too. So the Hungarian minority of this region leave the territory of the lowland, the floodplain of this region, and actually they could manage this lowland and floodplain region for a millennia. After the first millennia, they arrived to this region. Alongside these changes I have mentioned and the other changes, this community could manage this landscape, but however and whatever changes has occurred, they systems of traditional management could be resilient. But there was a dramatical changes in the mid of this century, and these systems I will speak about couldn't bear it. So with the help of the elderly people of local community, Hungarian elderly people of the region, I can reconstruct a lot of traditional management practice, and I will just mention some of them. Like you can see behind me on the screen, it was a very important management practice. We call it pig masting, pig grazing. It means that Hungarian people kept their pigs in the forest all the year and all the day, feeding them on acorn, worms, and whatever pigs can find in the forest. And it has a very long history, because the first mention of this kind of management originated from the 13th century, and the last mention of about this practice was mentioned in the 16th of the 20th century. So the next one is the grazing, which is also was very important, because in the very beginning of the 20th century, there was no well-divided word about forest and pastures. So this was the same for the local community. They could use, and they used to have one word for both expression. It sounds like erdő means forest, and legelő means pasture, and altogether erdőlegelő. So you can imagine what did it mean for the local community to graze their cattle and animals in the forest. And the other one was a management system which they use for gathering or collecting construction wood, firewood. We call it smallholder selective logging. It also was very important and ended up in the 16th of this century. So this management practices were very important for the local community, and with the end of these practices, we can say that somehow it undermined the self-identification of the local community. And as a most important driving force, I want to describe, as soon as the socialism came to the region and the collectives were established, people were deprived the right from managing their own landscape, including the forested landscape. So the most important driving factor actually was the collectivization, and it has led to the cessation of the forest management practices I mentioned, and also contributed to the undermining of self-identification. Actually, it has led to a very strong local identity, which has the people who live in that region. And I mean, if a people identifies themselves as a local, we call it Transcarpathian Hungarian, I mean it's okay. But when you ask about his identity and people can answer the question, it's a great problem. So these are the problem, but what can one do? I am László Demeter. I came from that region. I was born in that region. I got my degree in that region. And actually, I was working in a primary school in that region as a teacher. So actually, I know what does it mean to have a confused identity in that region. As soon as I realized the problem of the local community, the problem of the educational system I was working in, I had to decide to move on, because I didn't have any option and any idea how could I help my community. So I decided at the end to move and to start a PhD study. Now I am studying at Hungary, and I choose a topic to study in that region which related to the oak forest of the region. And I am interested in how does traditional or any past forest management practices shape the recent forest stand structure, and also how and what was the most important driving force of the past forest management in that region. So I know my results can contribute to better understand the forest dynamic, also can be implemented into the nature conservation, but what is more, I think and I believe it can be useful for the enhance or for the encourage people of self-identification if we find a better way how to implement it. What I have learned during my research career, which is in the childhood, I can say I'm a green finger researcher yet, but I'm improving. I'm doing research with old peoples in the region, and I'm very curious about what is their perception about the forest and the knowledge they hold, and also how can we implement this. If you look into the eyes of these people behind me, you can imagine what and how much experience they had been in his life. Some of them are over her 19s, so they have a lot of wisdom, which I'm sure that we must share with the local community and also with the younger people in that community. I have learned about what did they have to maintain the resiliency of the system they had in the past, those I have mentioned before. But also I understand, without interacting with the existing system, I can't really understand in depth how did it work in the past. So I had a great fortune to interact with another landscape near to my region, which is in Serbia, actually. And I was doing some research in cooperation with the local nature conservation and local forest management. And I had an opportunity to have a deeper in look how does, for example, pig grazing is working, and what do they need to maintain this special kind of forest management, which is very important for the local community. And what I have understood that not enough to have a community which want to maintain this tradition, but what we also need, some people which I call resiliency managers. I mean, we need nature conservationists, we need forest managers, we need NGOs, and we need those people who want to maintain this forest. Actually, in this landscape, this kind of forest management is profitable for the local community, but not for the local forest management. But the forest management recognizes and knows that cultural importance of this kind of management for the local community. So they are working with the local community, with the local forest, with the local nature conservationism to settle a protected area. Not about the species, not about the vegetation, but settle a protected area with the practice altogether. What can be the next step? I have a wider idea or in look. How did it work in the past? How does it work in recently in other landscape? But what can we do if a practice, a tradition ended up? There is a need to revive it, or who can tell it? What is my role in it? But all can I understand about this process that we need a younger generation who want to follow this kind of management, and you know, most of the region in the world, it's a common problem to have a generational gap. So younger generation don't want to follow the traditional old school practice, but can we accept it, or what to do? We were thinking about that with our research group and find a way how can we get together, bring together the older generation and the younger generation. Not to manipulate, just to bring them together and let's see what happened then. So who I am to tell the local community to revive or reintroduce a practice, but what all I can do to reintroduce them into the culture, and let's see what's happened then. So we had a beautiful project in my region where we were doing research with the local children. We asked them to go to the local elderly people and ask them about oak forest. The purpose of this, or the cause of this, was that we want to have an easier way to find people who have a lot of knowledge about the landscape, but the outcome was much more, because the children enjoyed this kind of practice, and they are full of experience, and they are full of joy when I collected the sheets I shared with them. So it was very beautiful, and what I understand about this, we need to reconnect this generation if we want to enhance or empower the cultural identity of a region or a community. So what I want to say, I am just inviting you to think a bit about how important is bringing together older and younger generation in order to enhancing cultural identity, enhancing resiliency, and rekindle a community. Thank you very much.